Hey everyone, it's Jack, and today I have a very interesting list for you. After 16 regular seasons, 9 All-Star seasons, a global season, and a couple of Versus the World seasons, we've seen upwards of 400 and almost 500 lip syncs at this point. And at this point, there's been some queens that have lip synced a lot on Drag Race, and I've wanted to compile the data for a long time to find the biggest winners and losers. But before I could get around to it, my good friend Setter Aside, who ran the drag statistics page on Instagram for the longest time, they decided to do like 95% of the research for me, so the biggest shout out to them. They are the best. Today we're counting basically every lip sync that we've seen on the show, whether that be for your life, for your legacy, a top 4 lip sync, things like that. Most of the data was first recorded after the Lollapalooza and All Stars 9. A lot of records were broken in that episode, and I wanted to hold off until the end of All Stars 9 to see if anything really changed. And now that All Stars 9 is done, we have a pretty definitive list. It's just easiest if I go through either side separately, and I think I want to start off with the biggest losers because I feel like that's what draws people in a little more. And I think it'd also be fun if I listed my favorite lip sync from each of the queens, even the ones who are losing the most. And of course, even though they are losers, it's just a statistic. It's not like a tell of how their drag actually is. The list first goes amount of lip syncs won or lost, and then from there we look at the win percentage. So if there's queens that won 6 lip syncs, the queen that is going to rank higher is the queen who won 6 lip syncs and less lip syncs overall. And it's basically flip for losses. Like if a queen lost 5 lip syncs, we'll go to the win percentage overall, and the queen to win more lip syncs will rank lower, if that makes sense. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's hop into the losers. And we get to start out with probably the most famous drag queen to come out of Drag Race, Trixie Mattel, who has lost 4 lip syncs. She lip synced twice on season 7, losing both of them. For those who don't know, she was eliminated once and then came back to the competition, and then the first time she was in the bottom, she was eliminated again. Then she lip synced 3 more times on All Stars 3, and the one win that she got was the lip sync for the crown, where she ended up winning the whole competition. Do I think Trixie's the best performer in the world? No, I don't think so, but I don't think she's a bad lip syncer either. I mean, the first time she was ever eliminated, a lot of people thought that was controversial and that she actually beat Pearl in that lip sync. But I think my favorite performance by her is probably still Freaky Money. I think she just does a great job in this lip sync, and it's like perfect for her. She only lost this one because another queen decided to pull out some gags, but RuPaul was still dying at her too. Out of 5 lip syncs, Trixie Mattel has lost 4, giving her a win percentage of 20%. Up next is actually the queen who has the worst win percentage on this list, but has only lost 4 lip syncs, so that's how she ends up here. Again, like I said, the list isn't like foolproof or anything, but that queen is Nina West. Nina West has lip synced 4 times on the show, once in season 11 and 3 times on All Stars 9, and she has lost all 4 of them. Her first 2 lip sync outings on Drag Race were not fan favorites by any means. No Scrubs is definitely a bottom 5 lip sync of all time, and the amount of reveals that she did in Banana just kind of made no sense for the song, but I think she just wanted to do it. But if I'm being honest, the next 2 lip syncs that she did on All Stars 9 were pretty great, with You Spin Me Right Round being my favorite. Like, she was neck and neck with Chanel. Nina West is a good performer when it comes to theatrics, just a lot of the songs she's had to lip sync to aren't very theatrical, and she's not the type of performer to really be able to like mold herself around a song, so that's how we've ended up with some pretty unsuccessful lip syncs. The songs she's had to lip sync to, often she just can't emulate that energy that's needed in that song. So she's not the best lip syncer by the show's standards, and she has the worst win percentage, but I think if given the right song, she still can win a lip sync. Like, I'm not gonna count her out. And coming back to round out the pair of queens, we have the iconic Katya, who has lost 5 of her lip syncs in her Drag Race career. She lip synced twice on season 7, winning her first and then losing her second to Kennedy Davenport, and then to All Stars 2, she lip synced for her legacy 3 times and then once for the crown. And she didn't win a single lip sync on All Stars 2, losing to Alaska 3 times and once to Detox. Now here's the thing about Katya's losses and why this list can be a little finicky. It is all subjective, of course, but I don't really think Katya ever lost any of her lip syncs in terms of performance and getting outperformed. Like, I feel like every single time she was neck and neck, and they could have gone with her if they really wanted to. I touched on this not that long ago, and Katya has a pretty negative opinion of like her lip syncs on Drag Race, but she truly still gave some great performances, and it's wild to me that she lost 5. For Katya, I talked about it in the same video, but Strange Twist of Fate is just an incredible lip sync. That performance shifted so much in the universe, and Katya became a queen that you really wanted to watch out for. Katya is 1 for 6 on lip syncs, and her win percentage again is 17%. Up next, we have Mo Hart, who gets a little bit tricky with the numbers. We have the double Shantae from All Stars 4 to consider for Mo Hart. Latrice was called first after the lip sync, and then you can argue that them doing like a fake out elimination showed that Mo Hart lost, but it was like a double Shantae, so I think it does count that she did win. And double Shantae means like they both quote unquote won the lip sync. I should have said that. So with that out of the way, Mo has lip synced 8 times on the show and she has lost 5 of the 8. Her only lip sync in season 10, she was eliminated. She lip synced 4 times on All Stars 4 and won 2 of them. And she lip synced 3 times on Canada vs. the World and she won 1 of those 3. Mo was another person that I was really surprised to see on this list because with lip syncs like Sissy That Walk, I consider her a pretty great lip syncer. And she's won 3, so of course that is pretty much being acknowledged. She's just the first sign of a queen who's been on a lot of seasons that had heavy focus on lip syncs. So though she's lost 5 lip syncs, she has a win percentage of 37.5% or 38%, which is a pretty sizable jump from the other queens that we've talked about so far. But now we're coming back to All Stars 9 once again, talking about Miss Vanjie. Vanjie has lost 5 out of 9 lip syncs, which isn't bad by any means. She lip synced once in season 10 and was eliminated, 3 times in season 11 and then was eliminated on her 3rd time. She came back as an All Stars assassin, which hasn't been touched on yet, and she lost that lip sync. And then on All Stars 9, she lip synced 4 times and lost 2 of them. Once again, I think I'm gonna stop saying this soon, but by no stretch of the imagination is Vanjie a bad lip syncer. She's just been a part of a lot of formats that involve a lot of lip syncing, and adding another lip sync to a season that you didn't even compete on, that's just something small that can either help or hurt your overall score. I'm now realizing while recording this that Plastique and Vanjie have lip synced twice across 2 seasons. And I think I'm only realizing this now because both of them are such different people than they were on season 11. So like with Plastique, my favorite lip sync of Vanjie's is When I Grow Up. I think they both really turned it, and it's probably like a pretty top tier lip sync. Vanessa Vanjie Mateo has a 44% win percentage, winning 4 out of her 9 lip syncs, or losing 5 out of her 9 lip syncs. Hey, it's Jack. I just wanted to hop on and talk really quick about the upcoming election. Reproductive rights are an extremely important issue to me, not only for the countless women that are in my life that I want to protect, but also for the fact that it's an issue that can lead to losing control of our bodies if the wrong people are elected into office. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned, 21 states have implemented abortion bans, some starting before women even know that they're pregnant, and access to in vitro fertilization and contraception are at risk. It's bleak right now, and if Donald Trump gets into office, his administration will push for the banning of abortion nationwide. This will lead to ending emergency abortion care, restricting access to IVF and contraception, defunding Planned Parenthood. The list unfortunately goes on. Abortion bans already in place have resulted in the deaths of multiple people, deaths that were preventable if they had access to life-saving reproductive health care. I doubt many, if any, of my viewers are going to vote for the Republican Party, but even those who are on the fence about voting blue or not voting at all, never forget that your vote does matter, and it's always important to use that right. It's a scarily and concerningly close election from the looks of it, so any continued conversation of what's at risk I think is a really important thing to talk about on my platform. I'm voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who are working to protect and expand our rights, from reproductive rights to civil rights and beyond. Now let me just say, I do not think that they are perfect candidates. Like any politician, I have my hesitations to back 100% of their policies. And I think as citizens, we should never stop pushing for our politicians to be as responsible as possible to the people of the nation. I cannot stress enough, out of the 2 candidates, I believe Kamala Harris will listen to the people of the nation, and she'll help to enact positive change to move this country forward. We're still feeling the impacts of Trump's first term right now, a lot of it coming back to Roe v. Wade, and how it was overturned by extreme judges that were handpicked by Donald Trump. We can't risk another 4 years. So please use your right to vote and influence others around you to vote blue all the way down the ballot in this upcoming election. Early voting has started in some states, and I was able to vote early. Visit iwillvote.com to make your plan to vote before November 5th. Thank you so much, and now let's get back to the video. So with how everything is looking, there would actually be 4 queens to end up on both lists with how I'm cutting everything off. What I'm going to do for now is save the 3 queens that I just mentioned, and then once we get to them on the biggest winners list, I'll tell you where they fall on the biggest losers list. However, the last queen to appear on both of the lists, she holds the record for the highest amount of losses across seasons, so I have to talk about her and the losses first. But before we get to the queens that I've been alluding to, we first have to talk about a couple queens who are kind of notorious for how many times they've lost on Drag Race. Up there in lip sync infamy next to Nina and Plastique, we have Jimbo. Up until the last 4 episodes of All Stars 8, Jimbo was 0 for 6 on lip syncs across 3 different seasons. She was finally able to win a lip sync in episode 9, and then of course she won the lip sync at the end to get the crown. So with that, she's lip synced 5 times on All Stars 8, losing 3 of the 5, twice on UK vs. the World where she lost both of them, and once on Canada season 1, losing that lip sync too. God bless Jimbo, because you could really tell that she was trying in these lip syncs, especially as she was losing more and more. Her storyline being she was so good in the challenges, but she could never win the lip syncs was so funny. Storylines like that always remind me of when Gottmik said that Roxy was like the saddest little frontrunner, because especially on All Stars 8, yeah, Jimbo was the saddest little frontrunner not being able to win the lip syncs, up until she beat Silky in episode 9 of All Stars 8. I do think the song choice was deliberately trying to help her. I mean, they also had coconuts on the season and they were trying to change the last lip sync to milkshakes. It doesn't take away from the fact that she did have a really funny performance. I just think it was a little hammy way to really finish up her storyline. It just felt a little baloney, I guess. My favorite lip sync of Jimbo's by far is the finale lip sync. I do think she does a great job in it. Jimbo has a win percentage of 25%, losing 6 of her 8 lip syncs. And the most recent and notorious addition to the Biggest Losers list is Plastique Tiara. When I first made this list, I thought that Plastique only lost 5 lip syncs, and only while editing this, I realized that she actually lost 6. So I did do a huge overhaul of everything, and I'm recording this part now, so that's probably why it sounds different. Plastique holds the record for losing the most lip syncs in a single season at 5 lip syncs on All Stars 9, and that adds to her 1 loss on season 11 against Vanjie, with her only win coming from the 6-way lip sync on season 11. A lot of people say that she only survived this lip sync, but I think she's the most winning out of all of the queens because she was called first by RuPaul. Still, I mean, that whole thing was a mess. You can watch last week's video. Plastique knows what she's good at when it comes to performance, and she's gonna do it every time, even if it doesn't really fit the vibe with the song. I think the big example of that is Jump in the Line versus Gottmik, where I think she was trying to play it a little too sexy. But when there is the right combination of performer and song, we get When I Grow Up, which I think is easily her best performance. The other big issue that she had on All Stars 9 was she just never really knew the lyrics to a lot of the songs. One of the moments that always stood out to me was when she was just pointing at Angie doing the whole rap. Like, she says she doesn't do the male parts of the songs, but I also just don't think that she knew the lyrics at all. In a lot of the challenges on All Stars 9, it just came off as disappointing because we would see her crush the challenge, and then when it came to the lip sync, it was just very, I guess, lackluster would be the best word. And it's to the point where she now holds the record for most lost lip syncs in a season. Plastique has lip synced 7 times and has won 1 of them, giving her a win percentage of 14%. But the queen who has lost the most lip syncs on the show, it's kind of almost a default placing because this queen has just lip synced so goddamn much on the show. Trinity the Tuck has lip synced 14 times on Drag Race and has lost 7 of those lip syncs. She lip synced 3 times in season 9, and yes, I am counting the top 4 lip sync as a win because they did film eliminations, but no one was eliminated, so they all proceeded. She only lost 1 in season 9, and for All Stars 4, she lip synced 6 times, only losing 2, but where a majority of her losses come in is on All Stars 7. On that season, she lip synced 5 times and lost 4 of the 5. Losing 7 of your 14 or winning 7 of your 14, I mean, it's 50%. If you're any drag performer who's decent at lip syncing, I feel like, you know, this is what you should probably get if you lip synced as many times as Trinity did. My favorite lip sync by Trinity is definitely I Wanna Go. Absolute blowout performance, and it's a great way to start her 14 lip sync run on Drag Race. And with Trinity also winning 7 lip syncs, she's gonna be on the biggest winners list, so let's get to that now. And next up, we have Raja O'Hara. Raja is one of the queens that appears on both lists because she's lip synced 11 times. She's won 6 of her lip syncs and lost 5. She won 3 out of 4 on season 11, 1 out of 3 on All Stars 6, 2 out of 3 on Canada vs. the World season 1, and then she popped in on All Stars 8 and lost to Coconuts against Jessica Wilde. Raja is one of my favorite queens of all time, especially with her 3-season story arc, and she gives such a wide variety of performance, and I enjoy so many of them. If I did have to choose, it would either be Miss You Much, River Deep, Mountain High, but one that always really appeals to me is Living in America versus Mercedes Amon Diamond, and I think I'm gonna choose that one. Raja is the hype woman in this song, and it's a great way to start out her lip sync run on Drag Race as well. Raja has won 6 out of 11 lip syncs, giving her a 55% win percentage. Up next on the list is Jujubee, who used to be up there with some of the biggest winners of the show. This was all around the time of All Stars 5 or a little bit beforehand, and since then there have just been so many seasons where there can be so many lip syncs that she's just kind of fallen down the list, but her record of 6 out of 9 wins is still really great. She won 3 out of 3 lip syncs on season 2, and this is one of the cases where she was cut before the last lip sync, and that actually helped her record. For All Stars 1, she lip synced twice, once for her team and then once against Raven, and technically she did win both of them and was again cut before the finale lip sync, so that doesn't count as a loss either. But the losses start in All Stars 5, where she lip syncs twice and loses both of them, and then on UK vs. the World, she lip syncs twice again, wins 1 and loses 1. Juju is one of the most fun performers to watch because she always always just has a good time, and that really helps out with the quality of the performance, whether she be drunk or not. And speaking of that, I think Black Velvet is my favorite lip sync by her. The vibes that she gives off in that song are so great. Juju has won 6 out of 9 lip syncs, giving her a 67% win percentage. Up next, we have a recent addition, the queen who I believe has lip synced most in a single season. Morphine loved Dion like the drug, but no relation. All of her lip syncs come from season 16, where she won 6 out of the 8, lip syncing 5 times in the actual competition, winning 3 of the 5, and then another 3 times in the Lollapalooza, winning all 3. Morphine is up there with my favorite lip syncers, and as of recent, I have been choosing her as my favorite because I just love every single performance that I've seen from her. There's really not a bad performance in there. She's super versatile, but I have to choose Body versus Dawn because, come on, of course. With 6 out of 8 lip sync wins, Morphine scores a 75% win percentage. Pretty good for only one season. A new addition to the list, post All-Stars 9 from Canada vs. the World Season 2, we have Alexis Mateo. Pre-Canada vs. the World, Alexis had a very good lip sync track record. She lip synced 3 times on Season 3 and she won all 3 of them, once on All-Stars 6 as an assassin and she won that. Her only loss up to that point was All-Stars 1, and it's kinda cause Yara tagged herself halfway through. And now we get to Canada vs. the World, where she got 2 more wins on that season, only losing the final lip sync to Lemon in the end. My favorite piece of Alexis Mateo lip sync lore is just the amount of people that have lost their wig while lip syncing against her. All 3 of her opponents in Season 3 and Trinity K. Bonet in All-Stars 6, half of her opponents have lost their wig while lip syncing against her. It really is the power of the BAM! And I'm really happy that she ended up making this list because we were severely robbed of any lip syncs from her in All-Stars 5. My favorite lip sync by Alexis is still Knock on Wood. It is an absolute classic. If I was ever in a coma and you needed to wake me up, show me the part of the lip sync where she jumps and I will be up in no seconds flat. Same with Morphine, 6 out of 8 wins, 75% win percentage. Up next we have a queen who I believe held the title for a while of most lip syncs in a single season, or at least most wins in a single season, and that queen is Cameron Michaels. Cameron lip synced 6 times on Season 10, winning 5 out of the 6 lip syncs, and then came back as an assassin on All-Stars 6 and kind of won that lip sync. It was the one to Boom Clap where she said F that stupid song. The only lip sync that she lost in Season 10 was the final lip sync to get the crown at the end, which is pretty badass if you ask me. Not since Darien Lake on Season 6 had we seen a queen survive 3 lip sync for your lives in a single season, and Cameron was able to survive the lip syncs 3 weeks in a row. People really remember Cameron for the last 4 episodes of Season 10. She won the Rusical for her Cher impression and then had 3 amazing lip syncs right after that. Competition wise, yeah, she didn't really finish strong by any means, but week after week we were seeing just how good of a performer she was. And it caps off with Nasty Girl, which I do think is my favorite lip sync by her. She eliminated Miss Cracker, who was a fan favorite and was expected to make it to the end of the competition. And though people were upset, I think this was just another way that people realized how great of a performer Cameron was. And nowadays, people are still asking for her back, and they were asking for her to be a lip sync assassin as well. Unfortunately, we saw the song choice and how that one turned out. Cameron won 6 out of 7 lip syncs, scoring her an 86% win percentage. Starting off our 7 lip sync win queens, we already talked about Trinity, but let's talk about her twinner now. Monet Exchange is the final queen to appear on both of the lists, winning 7 out of her 13 lip syncs. She lip synced 3 times in Season 10, winning 2 of the 3, 4 times on All-Stars 4, winning 2 of the 4. She came back as an assassin in All-Stars 5 and won that lip sync. And finally, on All-Stars 7, she lip synced 5 times, winning 2 of the 5. Monet is still one of my favorite lip syncers from the show because every single performance is so different but so entertaining. She has a way with playing with the camera and always giving you something new that you wouldn't really expect any queen to do on the show. Think of things like the fake out split or holding Jigs's lipstick. You never think that they're gonna come out, but when they do, it's just such a welcome surprise. I could pick so many of her lip syncs as my favorite. Pound the Alarm, Man I Feel Like a Woman, Jump to It, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, or even ones that she lost like Swish Swish or Supernova are also great. I think just because of how fresh it was and it's something that we haven't seen since, I will go with The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. We need more spoken word lip syncs on Drag Race, and Monet and Jinx gave us a great example. So the fact that they haven't done any since is really a big missed opportunity. Monet won 7 out of her 13 lip syncs, scoring a 54% win percentage. Another queen on this list who bumped up a section thanks to Canada vs. the World, we have Eureka. While Alexis was able to win 2 on Canada vs. the World, Eureka went 1 for 1. And that was to add to her 5 lip syncs that she did on Season 10, where she won 4 out of the 5, and 3 that she did on All-Stars 6, winning 2 out of the 3. I think Eureka is a really great performer, and we see a lot of her signature tricks in her lip syncs. I mean, even Fierce pointed out how she did a high kick during the ballad. Her lip syncs syncs are pretty much always fun to watch, and the way that she emotes, there's just something that's so entertaining about her performances. I do think we've just seen the last bit of Eureka that we'll see on Drag Race, but you never know. My favorite lip sync by her, I think, is Good Golly Miss Molly. I was talking about it a little bit last week. Both her and Jada just really own the song, and it's honestly one of the most underrated lip syncs of the show. I really like Eureka's reveal in this lip sync. Eureka has won 7 out of 10 of her lip syncs, scoring her a 70% win percentage. And she starts off our little streak of people who have won 7 out of 10 lip syncs. Next, we have Angeria Paris Van Michaels coming off a pretty big hot streak from All Stars 9. Angeria lip synced 3 times on season 14, winning 2 of the 3. She was the lip sync assassin, I didn't even remember that, on All Stars 8, and she lost that lip sync. And on All Stars 9, she lip synced 6 times and won 5 out of the 6 lip syncs. I think Angeria is a very classic lip syncer. That's how a lot of people compliment her on the show. She has a really big presence on the stage and has a way of connecting to the judging panel just through her eyes, but she could still serve comedy and entertainment, and it's something that not a lot of people have. Where she shines best, I think, is in a lot of the older school songs. And with that being said, I think Be My Lover is my favorite lip sync by her. Aside from the fact that Plastique just kind of sat on the stage and watched her perform, the way that Angeria switches between the female and male artists on the song is so funny. And like I said earlier, Angeria is a queen who has won 7 out of 10 lip syncs, making her win percentage 70%. And the last queen in this bunch is the one and only Candy Muse. Candy has done a lot of lip syncing over just 2 seasons of TV. She lip synced 7 times in season 13, winning 6 of the 7, only losing the one for the crown, and another 3 times on All Stars 8, but she only won 1 of the 3. Before Morphine, Candy was tied with another queen on this list that we'll get to later for the queen who has lip synced the most in a single season. It can't be understated just how many times some of these queens had to lip sync on season 13, and with how many times that we've seen Candy lip sync, I've really grown to love how she performs. There's always such an incredible energy to every single performance that she gives, but she's still able to blend in that comedy too. There was not a single lip sync where she didn't give it her all, and I think that's why she's been so successful on Drag Race. Though, even saying that, I still think my favorite lip sync by her is one that she actually lost. Jump In with Priyanka is such a good lip sync because both of them did such a good job. I do think Priyanka rightfully won the lip sync, but like this moment right here where Candy is doing the ad-libs, oh, it's just so good. Candy is the final queen to win 7 out of 10 lip syncs, so of course her win percentage is 70%. Shea Coulee is up next on our list, and she's given us some of the most iconic lip syncs ever, whether she is winning or losing. She's won 7 out of 9 lip syncs across 3 seasons, winning 2 out of 3 in season 9, you know the one she lost, 3 out of 3 in All Stars 5, and 2 out of 3 in All Stars 7. Shea Coulee is just a cool person, a cool lip syncer. Anytime I'm watching one of her performances, it just looks so glamorous all the time. And even in her losing lip sync against Sasha, she still looks great and gave a pretty good performance. To me, her lip syncs have only gotten better and better as the seasons have gone on. So with that being said, I think Supernova is my favorite lip sync by Shea. I could also choose Old MacDonald too, because that performance and that outfit somehow work so well together. But just the Supernova lip sync, like I said earlier, glamorous all around. Shea Coulee has won 7 out of 9 of her lip syncs, scoring a 78% win percentage. Up next is a fellow All Stars 7 sister, someone who beat Shea in a lip sync, and that's Jinx Monsoon. I think Jinx is the perfect sign of a theatrical queen who has a lot of strengths in some areas of performance. I'm not really gonna mince words and say a ton of her lip syncs are really standout, but the ones that are good and are up her alley, I think she really destroys. Jinx lip synced twice on season 5 and won both of them, and 6 times on All Stars 7, winning 4 of the 6. While her performance in The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia is really good, and I do like Rumor Has It as well, we gotta go back to the original with Malambo number 5. I mean, this is basically what won Jinx this season, I want to say. Up to that point in season 5, we knew she was really great at comedy, and she was starting to serve on the runway more. The last thing we really needed is lip sync performance, and she was able to do it while slaying ahead of Relaska Talks. It was a really great end to her story, but also just a great performance in general. Like I said, I don't think Jinx is the best lip syncer ever. She was just thrown into a season where lip syncing was like a heavy focus, and we know she can hold her own in a performance, but when we see 6 of those performances, you know, it starts to get a little old. Of course, I don't think that should take away from just how much she dominated All Stars 7. Same with Shea, Jinx has won 7 out of 9 lip syncs, scoring her a 78% win percentage. Like I mentioned earlier with Candy Muse, there is one other queen from season 13 who has lip synced 7 times, and it's the queen who beat Candy out for the crown, Simone. Of course, there are other queens, most if not all being winners, who have a 100% win rate, but Simone is the only queen to win 7 lip syncs to get that percentage. Every single lip sync from season 13 was a win for Simone. Pleasure Principle, Break My Heart, start, Boss, No Tears Left to Cry, I Learned from the Best, Give Me More, and Till the World's End. And like I said earlier, they really put people like Simone, Candy, Gottmik, and Rose to an extent to work for the amount of times that they had to lip sync. Simone and Angeria are really similar performers to me because we know so much about their personalities and how magnetic they are, and when we see them lip sync, that personality still shines through completely. The facial expressions, the little comedic beats that she does, all of it serves to really give signature Simone. If they could somehow do silhouettes of the performers like in the old Apple commercials, I could probably pick Simone out in a crowd. That's just how stamped her lip sync style is, and that's how she won 7 out of 7 lip syncs on a season 13. I think my favorite is I Learned from the Best because she really embodies everything about that song, and it was a really great build up from the rest of the season. And that handkerchief just pulls it all together. Simone won 7 out of 7 lip syncs on season 13, scoring her a 100% win percentage. We got 2 more queens left, and up next is a queen that I've avoided trying to mention on this list, but it's so hard because she's just lip synced so many times, and that is Silky Nutmeg Ganache. Silky has won 9 out of 14 lip syncs across 3 seasons of Drag Race, and you know where most of them come from. Season 11, she lip synced twice, winning 1 of the 2. Canada vs. the World Season 1, she lip synced 4 times, winning 2 of the 4. She came back as an assassin on All Stars 8 and lost that lip sync, but the bulk of her wins and the bulk of her lip syncs come from All Stars 6 with the lip sync SmackDown game within a game. In this episode alone, Silky lip synced 7 times and won 6 of the 7. It's a wild statistic, only really making sense with the context of All Stars 6, because otherwise the numbers just really wouldn't add up. And she's easily done the most lip syncs and the least amount of episode appearances. We got a full 3 seasons of Trinity the Tuck getting 14 lip syncs, and Silky has 14 lip syncs and around half the episodes that Trinity does, all because of All Stars 6. My favorite lip sync by Silky is easily Barbie Girl. It's something that I show to people who have no idea what Drag Race is because I think it's just a fun video. The first time seeing it, I was jumping out of my chair with how amazing it was. But also a big honorable mention to River Deep Mountain High, such a great end to such an amazing season. Silky Nutmeg Ganache has won 9 out of 14 lip syncs, scoring her a 64% win percentage. And we've made it to the last queen. For those who are fellow fun fact or stats nerds, you already know who it is. But for those who don't know, up until the finale of All Stars 9, there was one queen who had gone 10 for 10 in lip syncs, beating out Silky up to that point with a perfect win percentage. It's just a little unfortunate that she couldn't continue that streak to get the crown in the end. I'm talking about the one and only Roxy Andrews. After All Stars 9, Roxy Andrews is the first queen to get into the double digits of wins, scoring 10 wins out of 11 lip syncs. She lip synced 2 times on season 5, winning both of them, once on All Stars 2 where she won it. She came back as an assassin on All Stars 5, won it again, and in All Stars 9, she lip synced 7 times, winning 6 of the 7. Roxy is quintessential classic drag, and you can see it in so many ways. The choreography, the way she connects to the audience, doing things like this. No One Gets the Prize is my favorite lip sync by Roxy, but I feel like you couldn't really choose a bad option. There's a reason that she's at the top of this list, and I really wouldn't want to see anyone else here. I'm extremely happy that Angeria won All Stars 9, but there's just that little nerdy part of me with the stats that I'm like, damn, we really could have had a perfect record. Roxy Andrews has won 10 out of 11 lip syncs, giving her a 91% win percentage. This list went by quantity first and percentage after because, you know, there's a bunch of queens who have 100% win percentage, but they only lip sync like once or twice. It's not foolproof, but it's definitely just a way to get the conversation going. Comment below some queens that you would want to see make this list in the future. I think that's about it for me. This video took much longer than I thought it would, but I was actually really happy to put it together and get like all the slides and stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe once again, and I'll see you soon with another video. Back off.